my name is Alyssa, and this is the 5-Foot Test Kitchen. Today I decided to make some Oreo truffle balls. Now I know these aren't new to the internet, they're all over Pinterest, all over the Oreo website. You can see that on Tasty and Delish and all of those different sites. But I've decided to do this as my first recipe because A, it's really simple to make and anyone can make them. You probably may have already done it yourself. But I really like truffles as a gift to take to parties, as to take to work, just give as simple gifts. So this is my first set of truffles that I'll be making on the show, but I'll be making a lot more with peanut butter, with mint, with cookie dough, anything like that, because they're really great as gifts, like I said, and they don't take a lot of ingredients and they're pretty easy to do, and they store pretty well for a few days, so you can make them and then take them to work later on. So for this recipe, all you will need is Oreos or sandwich cookies. I get mine from Aldi because I think they taste about the same, so I've just chosen to make the cheaper option and get them from Aldi. Cream cheese, again, I get full fat because if you're making truffles, you might as well make them full fat. This is also from Aldi, but any brand obviously is okay. And then chocolate chips. It says only 4 ounces of chocolate chips in the recipe, but I like to get extras because I feel like it's never enough. I always end up dipping them too much and I end up needing more chocolate chips. So I get the mini chips so that way no matter what I'm making, I have chocolate chips for that. So to start off, I'm going to push this over and we're going to get our food processor. You're going to want crushed cookies. You can use a rolling pin in a bag, and that's super simple. I have done that many times myself, but I'm choosing to use a food processor today. Should have had those open already, but then you wouldn't be able to kind of tell. So like I was saying, you can use a rolling pin for this. I've also even used a flat wine bottle when I didn't have a rolling pin back in my old apartment, and I just put them in a bag and rolled them up with a wine glass. All right, so, oops, backwards. So we are going to crush these up and then we will get back to the next step. I just use the crush and we're good to go. Alright, so these are all crushed up and then we're going to get them into a bowl and then we're going to start mixing in the cream cheese. So we've got everything in the bowl. If not everything is perfectly crushed, that's okay. But as long as it's pretty finely crushed up, it'll be good. People know that it's Oreos, so it's not a big deal if it's not perfectly crushed. Now we're going to add in the cream cheese. You can try and use a mixing tool, like a spatula of some sort for this, but I have found that just using your hands is kind of the best option. It's a little bit messy, but they always say hands are your best tools. So we're going to get that taken care of. So, like I said, hands are the best tools, but if you can use a spatula to start off with, it might make it a little bit easier. You're going to want to make sure that your cream cheese is as soft as you possibly can, or else this is going to be really tricky. So as you can see, I got it all crushed up with the spatula, or with the rubber scraper, but it's not going to go anywhere unless I start using my hands, so I'm going to start doing that now. Alright, we should be done with that, and as you can see, it's quite a messy task, but it works a lot better when you use your hands for this. And yes, I did have to go up on my toes because I am only 5 feet tall. That's where the 5-Foot Test Kitchen comes from, so sometimes I'm a little short for stuff like this when we're at our counters, but we make it work. I'm going to get cleaned up, and I'm going to put this in the fridge for a little bit. I had my cream cheese out for a while just to make sure it was nice and soft so I could do this, and it's going to be a little messy trying to roll into balls, so I'm going to put this in the fridge and then I'll be back with a lined sheet and some clean hands so I can start rolling these balls out. I am back and the dough is ready to start to be rolled out. I actually made a granola that'll be my next video in the meantime while I let this chill in the fridge. So if you see that video and I'm wearing the same shirt and I look the same, that's why I'm pre-filming a couple of videos so that I can just edit during the week and bake during the weekend. So that's my plan. I'm thinking I'm going to be doing back and forth, unhealthy, healthy, if I can. So I'll talk a little bit more as I start scooping. I'm going to use this little ice cream scoop that my parents gave me. I've had it for a really long time, but it works really well for scooping out small amounts. These balls will be 1 inch in diameter approximately, so it should get around 48 of the truffles, but I never get that many, but we're gonna see what we can do. And I'm gonna speed up a little bit and then maybe talk throughout, but you can watch that. This is the size that you're going to want. It's enough so that you can take 2 or 3 bites of the truffle, and it's a good amount so that it's not too much because it's pretty rich, and not too little so that you're just popping a truffle in your mouth one at a time. So I decided to make my channel because I really enjoy baking for my friends and family and coworkers, and I figured that I might as well be baking stuff and putting it on the internet because I love Food Network channel. I grew up watching Rachel Ray and Ina and all of the greats, and I've really wanted to get into the YouTube world. I love watching YouTube, but I'm not a beauty guru. I'm far from it. But I really love baking and trying new recipes. I don't make my own recipes. I'm not quite that creative, but I really do enjoy following recipes and trying out different recipes from Pinterest and from online baking blogs. So that's kind of why I've wanted to do this channel, try other people's recipes out, and share them with you guys. So if you have any recipes that you really like, send them to me on Pinterest, comment down below. I also have an Instagram, also 5 Foot Test Kitchen, so if you want to check that out, I'm going to have different behind the scenes. I might have some extra pictures or videos of different things. I'll have polls so that way you guys can vote on things, on what you want to see next, if there's any other kind of videos you want to see. So I'm really going to try to evolve this channel into something so that way something that you guys can all see. Anyone can make these recipes. I don't want to make anything too complicated because if you look and you're watching Great British Baking Show or the Kids Championships even, these people are making recipes I would never be able to make, and they're very intimidating. I like to watch easy things that anyone can make. Sorry if this is clinking. So that's why I've decided to make these kinds of recipes. As long as you can follow directions, you're good to go. I am an engineer by degree, so that's why I really enjoy baking, is it's very regimented. There's very few substitutions, and if they are, they're very basic substitutions. So as long as you can follow directions, you're good to go with baking. Okay, so our truffles are done, and we got 41 made. I think that's pretty successful with the amount of truffle that we did. Some of them might be a little bit bigger than they're supposed to be, than the 1 inch diameter, but I think they'll be good. And I'm going to put these in the freezer. If I have space, I might go in the fridge because I'm not sure if I have space in my freezer, but I'll be back in about 10 to 20 minutes. Okay, so the truffles are probably just about ready to be starting to get dipped. So I have about a bag, just under a bag of chocolate chips to be melted. It's between a cup and a half of the mini chip morsels. They're semi-sweet chips. I like to make sure I have enough chocolate to be dipping all of the truffles, so that way I don't have to re-melt the chocolate as I go. So I'm going to melt this in the microwave, and then we will be right back. So our chocolate is ready. It's nice and melted. It looks pretty shiny. I didn't do any sort of tempering or anything like that, but how you would temper is just add a little bit of extra chocolate. I think with leaving it melted, a little bit melty, and then finishing up, it looks pretty shiny right now. And this isn't a professional kitchen, so I'm not too worried about tempering the chocolate. One thing that I do want to point out that's a good way of dipping the chocolate or dipping the truffles is using 2 forks, so that way you don't have as much surface trying to touch the truffle. Using a spoon wouldn't really work very well, and making sure you have a wide enough bowl to dip all of this will make it a lot easier. I am not a professional truffle dipper. These are not going to look gorgeous like anything professional, but I do my best and they end up tasting really good. So I'm gonna fast forward through all of this. I might cut some of it out. So if I jump from having this many to this many done, that's why, just so you're not seeing fast forward 41 truffle dipping. So all right, let's get started. Don't want that to stain my countertops. One thing you do want to do is try to get as much of the chocolate off as you can. So you'll see me just kind of wiggling this around in the circular motion. And then you try to slide it off the best you can onto the tray. But if you're like me, it's not going to happen. But they still taste good regardless. So some of these truffles are starting to get a little bit warm, so I'm going to take about half of them and put them in the fridge real fast so that they can stay in the fridge while I'm dipping the rest of these. So I'm going to do that very quickly. Okay, so we'll just keep dipping these and let those stay in the fridge while we do this. Okay, so with chocolate all over my hands, and you saw I had to kind of fix that last one with my finger, these are not the prettiest truffles that you are ever going to see, but they are going to taste amazing, and it's pretty simple to do. No one's going to be like, ooh, your truffles are ugly. They're going to eat them and enjoy them, and if your friends do say, oh, those truffles are ugly, then tell them, I'm sorry, but you can't have any. So I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm going to put it back in the fridge for about an hour to set, and then I'll put a picture at the end of all of the final product. I don't want you to have to sit and watch me do 20 more truffles because I know that would be very painful to watch. But I hope you really enjoyed watching this, and stay tuned to see my Instagram for the final picture. I'll try to pop one up on the screen as well when we're done. And I hope you really enjoyed watching this, and I hope you come back and watch my next video. It's going to be a chocolate granola or some more other healthy holiday treat, but I think it's going to be the granola next. So if you enjoyed this, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up. I'm really new at this, so I'd really appreciate any support that you have. Share it with your friends, even if they don't like baking. Force them to watch it, bribe them with stuff. You know the drill. And if you are anyone that I know, I really appreciate it. And if you are not someone I know, please let me know in the comments below how you found this video, what drew you to it. And if you're still watching, thank you. Have a good night, morning, or afternoon, wherever you are. Thanks. Bye.